Hey guys, this is Chris
Hello.
Mincolla with Mincolla Group at West USA Realty, and I'm here with Evan Einhorn of Modern Home Lending,
Hey,
um,
everyone.
mortgage broker, and very smart guy when it comes to financial stuff and loans.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Evan, we wanted to talk about some of the market stuff, but also some of the practical stuff to kind of help people out. Maybe uh, things are changing by the hour or every day with this craziness of the coronavirus. So, um,
Yeah,
so where to start? Should we start with the market stuff first or the practical stuff?
sure. Yeah, we
Okay.
can talk about the market. I can talk about rates, what we've seen the past couple of
Yeah,
weeks, and then I'll let you elaborate on real estate. But,
that'd be
you know,
great.
I, I've been in real estate for 10 years. I've been in the mortgage industry specifically for 7. And I was talking to a veteran, I think they've been in the industry 20 something years.
Yeah,
And I'm like, gosh, this is the most I've seen rates move up and down so quickly.
yeah,
Rates change all the time. What's different is how much they're changing and how quickly. Like a couple weeks ago, rates hit almost an all-time low. Since then, they've been on a climb.
right.
Sunday, we heard that the Fed announced that they were going to drop their rates, which is great for everyone because that means over the next couple months, auto loans, personal loans, credit cards, all that will be cheaper, but it doesn't have any impact on mortgage rates.
Right.
Um,
A lot of
but what they
confusion on that. A lot of confusion on that. A lot of
Yes,
people
yes.
asking for 0% mortgages and stuff. Yeah,
I would be buying like 3, 4 homes right now if there was zero
exactly.
percent. If I could, I'd figure out a way. I'd figure out a way.
Exactly. Yes.
Um, so that doesn't impact it. But what they did mention is the government was buying mortgage-backed securities. So that's important because just like people are pulling out of the stock market, not everyone wants to invest in mortgages, so it's driving rates up a little, just supply and demand.
Right.
So that was great. Monday, I saw the largest rate drop that I've ever seen in a single day. But unfortunately, Wednesday and Thursday this week were some of the worst days I've ever seen. Thankfully, today we got some relief. So very volatile, never been seen before, not even like years ago, because no one expected the coronavirus. No,
Right.
it's pushing us into a recession of sorts. Um, so it's just very quick. And I always tell people, if you're considering doing anything, if you're considering buying or refinancing, make sure you're in touch with a good mortgage broker, because like if you locked yesterday versus today, that's a huge difference. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And if some of my clients can tell you, like, if you call me, there's some days I'll be like, no, we're not locking, we're not refinancing today, but let's keep in touch, because maybe even tomorrow I might say something else.
Right. Yeah. And it's important that if people do want to like get the lower rate, get the lower payment, maybe even pull some money out, when you say go, they got to go, right?
Yes.
Because
That
I'm looking back 2 weeks ago, Monday, and it was like the lowest in history, I think, since
mhm.
1971 or whatever it is. And you're talking about a difference of over 1%, I think, right? Compared to where it was
it,
yesterday.
in some cases, and yesterday was the worst rates have been in several months, to put it in
Yeah.
perspective. So again, a lot of changes. Definitely want to make sure you capture on that. And it's, if you're starting the process, it's much easier if you already have an application in, if
Right.
you're trying to lock in. But we are seeing an uptick on cash out refinances.
Right.
One, because people want to pay off that debt. And two, people are worried about losing their jobs. Or let's say someone did lose their job and someone else can still qualify. They want to pull out just so they have reserves,
Sure.
just in case, like,
Yeah.
things are going to get slow for a month or two. It's just a fact. Like,
Right.
just having extra money set aside. You know
Good
what I mean?
idea. And this is a lesson, right? To always maybe have that emergency fund set aside anyway for
Yep.
a month or two at least to kind of be
Yep.
have that cushion. But so in the light of what we were just talking about, then when the rates go back up, we would think, oh, it's a bad economy right now, so why didn't the rates go down? So explain a little bit more of that. Like they're worried about, hey, they got too busy foreclosures, or worrying about people foreclose, or are they worried about keeping up with the demand, or is it just the other issue of people selling early or paying off early?
Yeah. So like you said, typically when the 10-year treasury and typically when the stock market goes down, you'll see rates go down. That was for the most part happening up until a few weeks ago. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, this the coronavirus is a lot more serious. It's impacting the economy.
Right.
So now lenders, one, they're backed up because they're busy from refinances, so they can't handle it. So every lender started increasing their rates. Like we have, I think 18 lenders now, maybe 17. They all increased their rates across the board. I don't know anyone that did. So one, lenders got busy. Two, people were pulling out from investing. So just like people pull out from the stock market, there's investors. There's no one investing in the stock, in the mortgage-backed security realm. And then three, we're starting to see this that there is some fear that there will be some foreclosures or delinquencies. Now, thankfully, we'll talk about it in a second. There is some relief for that. But whenever you have unemployment, you will have an increase in foreclosures and delinquencies. Now,
Right.
one of the things that usually combats that in a recession is typically interest rates will go down. Until I think, my prediction, and a lot of people are basically saying once we see the light at the end of the tunnel, so hopefully a couple of months from now, we see a light at the end of the tunnel and we say, hey, we've gotten through the worst. It's going to take time to build back up, but we've gotten through the worst. I think you'll see rates come back down for a temporary period.
Right.
No one has a crystal ball, but a lot of lenders are planning on that.
Sure.
And they're actually increasing their rates now because they don't want you to refinance. They actually want you to refinance a couple months from now. Because
Right.
if you refinance now and a couple months from now, it actually hurts them. They don't make money. So a lot of factors are playing into that.
Yeah. And so with that idea in mind, once we start to see the light, or now or within the next couple of months, people should start getting prepared, right? So in other words, talk to you now just to kind of get an idea, kind of map things out, maybe run credit soon, to get ready for maybe getting in a better position on their credit, or being ready to refinance if they already own or they want to buy and they're not. There's too much uncertainty now, and they're thinking maybe I should wait for a
Right.
lower rate.
So it's so tough to game the market right now.
Yeah.
It's like I what I compare it to? I compare it to day trading.
Yes, it
Like
is.
you can kind of guess, but for me, the biggest thing for buyers and people refinancing is what's that old saying? One in the hand is better than two in a bush.
Right.
That a lot of people, if we can refinance you at no cost and save you money on one of those good days, I'm not going to lock you on one of the bad days, but on one of the good days, maybe rates are lower 6 months down the road and we can refinance you again. Or maybe it doesn't make sense now. We just wait it out.
Sure.
I mean,
And this is also another lesson in why it's so important to own versus rent, I think, because you're in such a better position. I mean, at least as bad as it might get for the next month or two for some people, at least still have options. You can, you could sell, you could eventually pull some money out of your home, or
right.
your rent's not going to shoot up like crazy out of nowhere because they're trying to get caught up with the market. In a lot of cases, we get people calling us
Right.
all the time saying, my landlord wants to get the market value and they've been paying this low amount all this time and now the rent's shooting up, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You got that fixed.
And honestly, I'm worried a little about Goldman Sachs said that, or they're estimating over 2 million people lost their job, which is more in the last week, which is more than, has ever happened in the previous recession. But that could be good news. I'm always optimistic. Like this has been very quick. The stock market's dropped very quick. Mortgage rates have been going up and down very quickly. Job losses came really quickly.
Sure.
I'm hoping we can recover quickly too.
Yeah. And I think we
Because
will.
once we're through this, we're through it. We don't have to worry about the health, stuff anymore.
And I'm no doctor, but it sounds like they got some really good things coming up with some of the therapeutics that they're going to be using and trying and things like that. And they had some short-term results with already. Right. And so that's encouraging, but
yeah.
Not to get too far into medical stuff, but so Last month, the numbers show that we were in a very strong market. Matter of fact, the strongest since 2007, according to the numbers nationally. I know locally we've been super strong. Up until this, busier than ever. We're still busy.
Yeah.
We're taking out some clients this weekend. So I mean, so
Yeah.
far, I'm like you said, anticipating a month or two where we'll have a little lull, and then,
Right.
and then
You know what I've seen it impact more than anything? I've seen the luxury
yes,
market and investment,
makes
because I
sense.
wouldn't recommend buying an investment today, but I would be ready that, again, if the market starts heating up, is, hopefully we're out of the woods in a couple of months or a few months from now, to be ready.
Right.
And I have a list of buyers that are like, okay, yeah, I want to find something in a couple of months from now,
Yeah.
or I
All
want to
that.
buy my investment property.
It's all penned up, right? If they're ready to go. Yeah. It's good. Well, okay. So just to keep this thing moving along. So
Of course.
what are the other developments? So, so far our inspections are still getting done, but appraisers, what's going on with appraisers? Tell us real quick.
Yeah. So, one, I'm sure you've seen it because of us, but there's a much larger chance that if you have a conventional loan, decent down payment, or decent equity in the home, you don't need an appraisal because there's an appraisal waiver. So that's been increasing over the last couple of years because of technology. There are some big organizations working with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, etc., just to see if appraisals can get done, so to help
Yeah.
the lender out without having to go in the home. So they'll
Sure.
rely on the MLS photos, they'll rely on public records, all these things. They'll rely on the home inspection possibly, just to minimize the contact in the home temporarily. So,
Makes sense.
nothing's official there, but everyone's trying to do everything they can to keep business moving, but also not put anyone at risk as far as health goes.
Yeah, I know even like title companies are like, realtors, we love it when you come, but don't come, just have the
Right.
signer or I think there's one, but I think this is kind of where a lot of this stuff is heading to in the future, is where title companies are starting to do virtual signings. Like we're doing this virtual interview right now or meeting.
Right.
They're going to start doing virtual signings, possibly. That sort of thing is probably going to be more on the horizon now with this, and people start thinking more about those public health type things, like do we really need to do these things in person, all that kind of
Right.
stuff. So, and it doesn't
Um,
make it more convenient sometimes for people too, right? If you could
oh
just
yeah, for sure.
so, um, so one of the other big things is it looks like, FHA, Freddie and Fannie, they're going to give some leeway on foreclosures and things like that, right? So
That's probably the most important thing we can talk about on this
government
video
loans,
today.
guys, government loans. So just so you know, FHA, is a government loan. And really quick, you want to just kind of, so people kind of,
Yes. So big news. I think there's some bigger news than others, but FHA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. So if you have an FHA or conventional loan, basically they announced that they're stopping foreclosures for 60 days, which it takes several months to get into foreclosure anyway. So
right.
that's it's good. And, if you were having troubles, they're not going to come foreclose on you, and you're going to be out in the streets, while we're all being quarantined or social distancing, etc.
Right.
But what's bigger, and we're waiting, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have finalized it, is that they are offering up to 12 months of forbearance. Now,
Wow.
the biggest thing I can recommend, so what that means is basically pushing your payments back 12 months, or adding it on to the end of the loan, or adding on interest. Like, it doesn't mean you get to skip 12 payments and never pay them. You're not forgiven, but you might pay them, you might have an increased payment next year, or you might put them at the end of the loan. It's really up to the servicer, but Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have released that, hey, they are helping. So if you
Yeah.
lost your job, if you have less income because you lost a side job or reduced hours, reach out to your mortgage servicer as soon as possible. We were just talking about this. You don't want to skip 12 payments and then ask for forgiveness later.
Communicate with them, guys. Communicate with your servicer, with the person you send a check to
Right.
every month. Make the
Right.
payment.
Yesterday there was a lot of stuff going on online about 12 missed payments, etc. But I was finally able to, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac released it on their site today. And if you need to double check, if you are, we'll post the links, or you can contact us to double check if that's one of your loans. So more and more stuff is going to come out. The federal aid package, I'm sure that will be finalized at some point soon.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so also real quick, guys, taxes don't need to be filed till July 15th instead of April 15th now. If you, here's a little tip on shopping that we found in our area. I don't know if this is the same way everywhere in the world, but they've done the senior hours now, like from 6 to 7, I guess, in a lot of places and stores and stuff like that in the morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. What we've been finding is if you go right at 7 or just after 7, and in between that window of 7 to 7:30, you can still get things like toilet paper, even though they limit you. Maybe the same thing with rubbing alcohol and hand sanitizer.
I'll have to try this tomorrow.
Yeah, and again, it's in our area, it's working. But if you're there like after 7:20, 7:30, yes, most of the stuff will be gone. And this has been what we found at we shop at Fry's mostly. When we've tried to do, we normally do delivery from Costco and Fry's. We haven't even, in the last few days, haven't even been able to place an order that will go through. It's like their website's either overloaded or they're just not doing, I don't know what it is. They're not doing orders. It's just really bizarre. But I know we want to stay out of the public as much as possible, but there's a quick little tip. And maybe I'm just going to say maybe you go with a few different people. I don't know. You can get in there early and get it done. But anyways, one of the other things, since we're home a lot, I posted some links on our social media for Facebook page and stuff. How to, get through homeschooling a little bit better, some tips there. Also, how to, get through setting up a home office, some tips on that.
Yeah, we're grateful. We already have it set up, but not everyone does. So.
Yeah. I also posted some information about Tylenol versus ibuprofen if you get a fever, and some of the information on the market that we already talked about. We'd also like to hear from you guys if you know anybody personally or know someone who's either has the virus or maybe has gotten through it. That would be great news. So please reach out to us with that information. Evan, was there anything else that we missed so far on the technical stuff that people should know?
No, I mean, non-QM loans are going away. That's not a huge deal. Not a lot of people are using them. Just basically anything with private investors. Thankfully, the government's getting us through the next couple months as far as mortgages go. But on a high level, things are changing so quickly. If we did this next Friday or last Friday, a ton of different topics to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, I don't know if we'll do this weekly or not because I know Evan's super busy and we get tied up a lot of times, so we won't have a specific time that we doing this. But we'll try and get some information out to you as much as possible.
It's important we talk today because one, homeowners need to know they have resources if through all of this if they can't make their payments, and two, if anyone was looking to buy or refinance, it's more important than ever to be in touch with an expert, not just some random lender. Just keep in touch. It's an ever-changing market. And again, it's crazy the speed of how things are changing.
Yeah.
Market's going waves, but the speed of how things are changing is crazy.
And as dire as the other good thing, just as kind of because I'm the eternal optimist and try to always see the silver lining, but it seems like whether, without putting all the politics aside, whether you like the way how fast things moved or not in the beginning, things seems moving super fast now on that end too. And there's a lot of people on it. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of money going into it. And it seems like a lot of things are moving, like
to help us.
Yeah, like now even the military's involved, in a good way, not like martial law, but what I mean. But and some of the other things are ramping up. So I think we're going to see, like you just said, things are moving so fast on all fronts,
Right.
because they want to get this back up and running and people back out there and living our normal lives. Even though I think this is going to shape a few things that make people a little bit more aware of, or maybe think about differently, or be prepared for, in a good way. In a good way, I think we'll come out of this stronger personally than we were.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I'm hoping down the line more companies allow people to work remote, because some people are actually working more efficiently. We're pretty much all remote anyways, but like, China, when they were locked down for a couple months, like their emissions went down so much,
Yeah,
so there's definitely some things, and I'm grateful that we're in a technology age that we can do this and still communicate, because if this was 15 years ago, this would be a nightmare.
oh
I mean, it'd be much worse. Not much worse, but
yeah,
I'm very grateful that so much of us can work remotely. So
yeah, it's great.
yeah.
So should have put money into telecom, right? All right, guys. So if you have any questions, again, our market's still strong here locally. Things are still going good on our end. If you have any questions about buying or selling a home, please reach out to us, or anything about the industry. We'll keep you posted on any new developments that are moving along here.
Yeah, use this as a resource,
Yeah,
for
please.
anything. Whether if you own a home, if you're affected by it at all, some of the tools that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have are kind of confusing. So I'm more than
Yeah,
happy to walk you through it just to see if your loan is eligible for that.
yeah. And there's a lot of
Most people.
garbage out there too.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
a lot of garbage information.
So
The great thing about Evan is, he's able to shop the lowest rates, because, you know, the wholesale lenders that he works with do not work at the street level. In other words, they work through the brokers like Evan.
well, and that's actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I forgot to mention, but more important than ever, if you are getting a mortgage, it's more important that you are going through a broker, because so many lenders are busy. Some lenders are working from home and can't handle it because they weren't set up to do so. We have like 17, 18 lenders. Today, there was only 2 that were competitive.
Yeah,
So if I went with anyone else, it's, your rate was not competitive. So most
exactly.
lenders are not competitive now, but it's helpful to have a broker that has multiple options, because you could talk to one bank, they'll be competitive one day and not the next. But
Yeah, and
very
we've had,
challenging.
matter of fact, we had somebody closing today who, because Evan's got so many lenders he can go to with different options, not only on rates, but different options and things that they'll do, that this person was able to get qualified, whereas normally through a typical retail lender, it wouldn't happen. It
Yeah.
wouldn't happen. And even with a lot of the other lenders that Evan has, it wouldn't happen. It was just happened to
Right.
be this one particular lender that he works with. Was it
Yeah.
the closing we had today?
I had like 7 or 8 deals last year, and families that we were able to help, that I got 9 or 10 no's, and then one lender said yes.
Yeah.
So for the most part, every lender has similar guidelines, but there's those unique situations that, do come into play for sure.
That's why we like working with Evan. He started this company because he wanted to save people money and be able to give them the best option. So it's great. So, Evan, how do they get in touch with you?
You can go to Modern Home Lending, or give me a call, 602-456-2273, or find us on Facebook, Evan Einhorn. But seriously, like anyone, if you have a rate in the 4s or 5s, if you're thinking about buying down the line and you want to get prepared once we're out of this mess, or if you are a homeowner that's struggling, reach out and we can either help you or point you in the right direction for sure.
I think it's
So.
gonna. I don't have a crystal ball, but I think it's gonna meaning the rates after this is
Mm-hmm.
over. I
Mm-hmm.
think they're just gonna
A lot of people,
just to
a
get
lot of,
things launched.
no one has a crystal ball, but a lot of smart people are thinking that for sure.
Yeah.
So,
So, anyways, guys, 480-788-8569 if you have any questions for us on the real estate side. And also, Cynthia now works on Evan's team, so can help
yeah,
streamline
it's
things.
been
But
great.
Evan is still the guru, but Cynthia can certainly streamline things for you a little bit there and help out when he's not available. So we'll talk to you guys next time, and please let us know if there's anything we can do for you. We'd love to be able to help you out.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thanks
Evan.
for having me.
Hey,
We'll see ya.
all right. Thanks.
Bye.